idea of what we are here to talk about. The Medical League of TTC is here to raise awareness on mental health. And with us this morning, we have two amazing speakers that are going to be answering a few of my questions. Here we have Dr. Babatunde, who is a family physician and also the head of our medical league. And also by my other side, we have Ms. Sophie Ogiri, who is a clinical psychologist and a church mental health advocate. So let's jump right into it. My first question this morning is to you, Ms. Sophie. What is mental health and what is mental illness?
Good morning, church. Mental health is a state of well-being. If I were to give a textbook definition, is a state of well-being that allows us to realize our potential to cope with the normal stresses of life and contribute or interact meaningfully with our environment and those in it. I also like to think of mental health as a tool or as a form of capacity that helps us to think, feel, and act productively. Mental health is also something that exists on a continuum. So what I mean by this is you don't measure mental health merely by the presence or absence of illness. So a person could be diagnosed with a mental illness, but it doesn't mean that they can't have good well-being. If they are being treated and they're being cared for in the way they're supposed to, they can still lead a normal life. And that someone who doesn't qualify for a mental health diagnosis does not mean that they have good mental health. I'm sure you would all agree with me that there's some days where we're not doing well, we're struggling more significantly than other days, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we have a mental illness. So mental health is not merely the absence of mental illness. And then, of course, mental illness is a deviation from that state of well-being that helps you think, feel, and act productively.
Okay. Thank you so much for helping us clarify it, because we know that there's a lot of stigma around mental health, and you just hearing the word mental health, you hear people saying, God forbid, it's not my portion. Just the mere word of it makes people frightful. So thank you so much for that answer. Over to you, Dr. Babatunde. The next question says, is there a relationship between our physical health and our mental health?
All right, thank you very much. Good morning, church. Yes, absolutely there is a lot of relationship. And I just want to borrow something from what Ms. Sophia said. Many times we think of ourselves as being healthy when there is no diagnosis. I always like to remind people of the World Health Organization definition of health, that it's a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not just the absence of disease or infirmity. And when you look at that, it gives a holistic approach. Many times people look at, it's easier for us to accept physical diagnosis, but when it comes to emotional issues, God forbid. And let me give an example of some of the relations. Recently, I was attending to someone, and for me, he was having an anxiety disorder, but how was it manifesting? And I'm saying this because it helps us to know that some of the things we experience could actually be from a disorder of our mental health, right? They was having excessive belching, excessive gassing. They had done several procedures, put on several medications, but it wasn't getting better. But when we looked closer, we understood that there was an underlying anxiety disorder. And what's that going to do? It's going to trigger what you call your autonomic nervous system. All right, and I'll explain that in a bit. But why am I using this example is because for him, he was okay when the diagnosis was just a reflux disease. But when he was told that, you have an anxiety disorder, and what started on treatment, he was like, God will not allow this to happen to me. Okay, so, in the same body, okay? All right, so let me just say this and round up on this. There are lots of examples, but one of the ways to look at it is to think about what we call the fight or flight response, right? If, for example, there is a sudden onset of fear, if a lion enters that room, right, a lot of things will take place in our body. The muscles become tense, your heart rate goes up, your blood pressure goes up, your digestion is going to slow down, all in preparation for what you call the fight or flight response, okay? What we don't want is that you don't want that to be happening perpetually in your life, and that sometimes happens. So that's just one way to look at the relationship. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for helping us see the relationship between both of them and the impact of one on another. So our final question goes to you, Ms. Sophie. We're in church and we're in a Christian community where we have the Holy Spirit and the rest. So is it possible, can a believer actually have mental health issues? I know from everything Dr. Babatunde said, there's a possibility there, right? But are there examples in the Bible? Is it something that is scriptural? Mental health, is it something that can be found in scriptures? And can a believer actually have mental illness?
The short answer is yes. A believer can have mental illness. A believer can struggle with their mental health, whether or not they even meet the criteria for a mental illness. If we listen to what Dr. B said, your body can be affected, and your body and mind are not as separate as you think, because what we call mental health is really brain health, because your brain is the organ that houses your mind, right? And if you can understand that something could be wrong with your eyes or your heart, the brain is not very exempt. So yes, believers can experience mental health struggles. And in the Bible, the Bible says that we're not of this world, right? But we're in the world. So we're going to be affected by things that happen in the world. And if you look at the things that cause people to struggle with their mental health, it's because of the brokenness of the world that we are affected by. So yes, believers can struggle with their mental health. And if we were to look at an example in the Bible, David is always my go-to guy. If we sit down and take a full history on David, he would qualify for what we would call a mental illness in modern time. So if you read the Psalms, you see a lot of lament, a lot of anguish with David. He would say things like, "Oh God, how long would you let my soul lie down in anguish?" And sometimes you see him lament, and then he ends with rejoicing and on. And I think we can take a cue from David on how to deal with our emotions. And I think we asked this question about whether believers can experience mental health issues or not, because somehow we think we're offending God by struggling, but that's not the truth. In the Bible, we see that God is close to the brokenhearted, Psalm 34 verse 18. And if we read through the ministry of Jesus, he felt compassion for those who were suffering. He felt compassion for those who were sick. So God is not offended by your struggle. He can handle it. I think he would even be more offended by you trying to hide it, because that would be pride. God desires honesty from us. I believe that's Psalm 51. You desire honesty from the inward part. So as a believer, God knows. Even Jesus was referred to as a man of sorrows. And in John 16, he said that we will have many sorrows in this world, but take heart because I have overcome the world. So God is not surprised that you are depressed or anxious, and you are not insulting his leadership. You're not insulting his power by being affected by things that are around you. All around the Bible, we see instructions to not be afraid, to not be anxious. And those instructions exist because God knows that we will worry and will be anxious.
Thank you so much. Please, can we give a round of applause to our speakers? God bless you. God bless you. I believe someone here has been blessed this morning, and we're all leaving with something. But we also want to leave you with another tool that you can use whenever you're faced with the stressors of life, whenever that anxiety comes, whenever those palpitations come. And we're going to be doing it together as a church. So everyone, please sit down. I want you to feel relaxed. Sit down comfortably on your chair. If you're tensed up, I want you to relax on your chair. We're going to be doing this breathing exercise together. It's called the 4-7-8 breathing exercise. And I just want you to follow the sound of my voice. Don't worry, I'm not going to hypnotize. I'm not doing any form of hypnosis. It's just a breathing exercise. Are we ready, church? Yeah, very good. Media, please, can you help us with the audio? Very good. So please, let's take instructions. Everyone breathe in, and you would hold for 4 seconds. I'm counting, don't worry. Breathe in for 4 seconds. Hold for 7 seconds. Now, I want you to exhale. Very good. That's a good try for the first time. We're going to do it one more time, 2 more times. So, I want you to breathe in like you're taking in all the air in church. We're going to breathe in for 4 seconds. We're going to hold it for 7 seconds. And we're going to exhale for 8 seconds out through your mouth like you're blowing a balloon. Are we ready? So, everyone, taking the breath for 4 seconds. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Now breathe out through your mouth, slowly, 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 slowly. Is everyone okay? So let's try one more time. One more time. Everyone breathe in. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Now out through your mouth slowly. Very good. Can we give ourselves a round of applause? Amazing, amazing. So please, we've said so much today, and we know that not all wounds are visible. There might be people in the audience that are struggling and they're wondering how to get help. We have the clinic just right at the back, so we can always come in, and we have counselors available. We also have a number posted also on the screen on the flyer above. Please take down that number. Someone might need it, a friend might need it one day, and please share. Thank you all so much. In addition to this, the League of Professionals is also going to be having an AI bootcamp tagged shift, and it's available for everyone. It's coming up on the 16th of July. Please register and be there. Thank you all so much, and God bless you.